Diddy should go home. Free Diddy. Let's just put it out there. I've said that at the end, one of the last videos I did on this channel, which I've taken a quick break, but I said that Diddy should go home. I actually thought he was going to go home when he was basically acquitted on the major charges in this ridiculous case, right? Why do I think now he should go home? Why am I revisiting this, and why am I reiterating my emphasis on this man should go home to his family? Is it because suddenly I have a change of heart and think he's a great guy? No, it's the same as I said before. I'm not defending his character. I'm defending the law and the appropriate thing to do in this case. This man was not convicted of the major charges, and what he was convicted on was ridiculous. And we're going to get into it right now. It is time to talk. Welcome to Time to Talk. I know it's been a minute. I didn't do a video since, I guess, the previous acquittal and all the other stuff and all the hoopla surrounding this Diddy case. Sean Diddy Combs, Puffy, whatever you want to call him, right? I haven't said anything. Now, there's been a motion by the defense now. This is probably the second time they're trying to get bail. We all thought he was going to get bail, and we all thought he was going to be released. Well, at least I shouldn't say all of us. I should say the people who were paying attention, the people who weren't convinced that he was going to get it on RICO and there's no way he's getting out. All these so-called influencers and bloggers and YouTubers who thought he was going to definitely go to jail for the rest of his life because they got him on the RICO. All of those people aside, a lot of us thought, okay, when he was acquitted of all those major things and he was only basically found guilty on two of the charges, which was to engage in prostitution with both Cassie and with Jane Doe, a.k.a. Daphne, a.k.a. 50's baby mama, right? When we saw that, we were like, okay, the next step is he's probably going to go get out of here. They're probably getting him dressed, and the judge is going to have the routine hearing, and he's going to be freed, right, on bond, awaiting sentencing. Didn't happen. And so now the defense has made another motion for this man to go home, as well he should. And I'm going to put up front, before we get into the defense's rationale and looking at this, my rationale previously was he's not a threat to society. Yes, the defense, by their own admission, has admitted that their client, Sean Diddy Puffy Combs, has a propensity for violence, or he has been violent. Again, these are situations involving his long-term girlfriend. Not excusing it, not saying it's right for a man to put his hands on a woman, on his wife, on his girlfriend, on his lover, whatever it is, on his animals. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm simply pointing out that this is not a guy who was found guilty because he used to run the streets and shoot people, beat people up, and do all sorts of crazy stuff, and we don't know what he's going to do next. This was not a Suge Knight situation, okay? We were not dealing with a gangster. We were dealing with a guy from Yonkers or Uptown in New York City, a mogul, a rapper, wannabe tough guy. I'm not saying he's never done anything. I'm just pointing out, again, because people don't really pay attention sometimes. Hear me out, people. If you're listening to this, hear me out. I'm saying to put Diddy in the category of this guy who's going to come out, he's going to grab his guns and get his gang together, and they're all going to run the streets and they're going to threaten people and do all sorts of crazy stuff. You got to be smoking crack to think that's what Diddy's going to do, or you think that's his actual history, that's his character. That's not going to happen. I also made the case that this man has been in jail for almost a year now. There's no way he doesn't want to go home to his little girl and to his kids, his older kids. He wants to go home. He wants to be, you think he's going to get out of jail, put up his home, put up all his assets, put up money, put up millions of dollars. He's basically giving, and I'm going to show you in a second, when we go through the defense's some of the statements from the defense documentation in the court. He's basically telling him, do whatever you want to me. Put me in one room in my house and lock the doors, and I'll stay in there. Put an ankle bracelet around me. Put a bracelet around my neck that beeps if I go too far one direction in the east wing of the house. Take this, take my cars, take my helicopter, take this, take that. Put security around the outside. They campaigned for this early on, before the trial even started, when they asked for bail. They were like, lock me down in my house and I'll stay still. There was no reason to put this black man behind bars for a year for a trial that amounted to nothing more than an expose on this man's swinger lifestyle / cuckold lifestyle / whatever you want to call it, freaky, freak off, Diddy, King Knight thing, baby oil extraordinaire, whatever it was. That was the only thing we got from this entire case, right? That and the fact that we know that him and Cassie had a tumultuous relationship and he was not the best boyfriend, right? And we got to learn what he's into, and we heard a bunch of testimony, salacious testimony. When you think back on this and really think back on this case, what did we cover? What did we see? We watched this man's life, SEX life, being played out in a court for the whatever amount of time that trial went, for whatever weeks it was. I lost count. But that's what we saw, right? And They built an entire case and put this man in jail as if he was like really, really some hardcore criminal. They didn't build a RICO case. There was no enterprise. There was nothing here. What he was doing was having a personal freak off and had his own little thing going on with his girls. That's all this whole thing was. So with all that said, let's take a look at some of the defense strategy and rationale here, right? Let's look at Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs. Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs went to swingers clubs and they had threesomes. Miss Ventura consistently expressed interest and enthusiasm in her intimate life with Combs, including what they called freak-offs. Jane, aka Daphne Joy, aka 50's baby mama, and Sean Combs had threesomes too. When Jane and Combs watched pornography together, Jane testified that she contacted two different porn stars and invited them to join her and Mr. Combs. Read that again. When Jane and Combs watched pornography together, Jane testified that she contacted two different porn stars and invited them to join her and Mr. Combs. So basically, Daphne Joy, aka 50's baby mama, aka Jane Doe, was watching it and said, ooh, I'd like to get those two inside of me. And that's basically what she did. Period, point blank. Don't give me any victim bullshit because it's not victims. Both Miss Ventura and Jane testified that very often they would see the same men over and over again for years. Yeah, that's because they like the D they were getting from those particular guys. In July of 2024, Jane testified, for instance, that she suggested to Mr. Combs that they call Paul. Yeah, Paul really worked her just the right way. Jane explained that she told Combs she missed Paul. Yeah, because she liked when Paul would do blah, blah, blah to her and get inside her and twist her out. When asked why she said that, she responded, because I missed him. This was a lifestyle, one that both Miss Ventura and Jane chose. Again, one that both Miss Ventura and Jane chose. One they all, as grown adults, had a right to choose. A lifestyle they all chose, and they all chose, okay? Like many aspects of sex and intimacy, it was not without its complications, its bouts of jealousy, and at times its frustrations. Yes, exactly what I said in one of my videos. It was a tumultuous, crazy relationship that they had, 10, 11 plus years. But that is a hallmark of any serious romantic relationship, and that's what these were. Serious, long-term romantic relationships. Exactly. And it comes with ups and downs, especially when you're dealing with celebrity, billionaire, mogul that these women were hanging on to, and we're also standing a transactional nature of the relationships and what was going on here. Sean Combs should not be in jail for this conduct. In fact, he may be the only person currently in the United States jail for being any sort of John, and certainly the only person in jail for hiring adult male escorts for him and his girlfriend when he did not even have sex with the escort himself. Over the last 75 years, the White Slave Traffic Act, the Mann Act, has been limited to defendants who cause interstate travel for financial gain through the business of prostitution. Again, he didn't do this for financial gain. That was established, and that was basically, about 100 years ago, and it had more to do with the moral temperature of the country at the time. It was more about morality. It was more about protecting situations with women and younger children and all these different things. There was a rationale for it that has nothing to do with now. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Not only is prosecuting the users of adult prostitution services inconsistent with the Mann Act, it is inconsistent with the prosecution policies of the district attorneys of Manhattan and the city attorney of Los Angeles, California, two of the three locations where this prostitution allegedly took place. In addition, Mr. Combs is incarcerated while everyone else involved in this identical conduct, his girlfriends, the cowboys, the agency's leaders, the porn stars, and others all walk free, as they should. If there was ever a fact pattern that was exceptional under the Mann Act, it is this one. So there you have it. As far as the Mann Act goes, again, this man was not grabbing women and saying, all right, let's make some money over here. I got a party happening over here. I got a bunch of fellas who need some females. Let's get them together. Let's round up a bunch of those women and we'll get them over here. And we got a couple of escorts and we'll do all this crazy stuff and we'll make money off this. That's not what he was doing. This man was not doing that. So with that said, the next part of the prosecution or the government's case against Diddy in order to keep him in jail is that he's violent. Again, they talked about his his defense team admitted that he had violent tendencies and did some violent things that I talked about early in this video, right? However, let's not get it twisted. Again, this man was not a gangster running the streets. All right, this has to do with this situation here. The court noted that the defense admitted a history of domestic violence as to Ms. Ventura and that he struck Jane twice in June 2024. However, again, I condemn that. Okay. However, we strenuously object that Mr. Combs poses a danger to the community. Aside from a single instance on June 18th, 2024, where Mr. Combs was provoked by Jane through her own acts of violence, there was no evidence of any acts of violence in the last 7 years. Indeed, the jury notably rejected the government's argument that the June 2024 incident constituted coercion when it acquitted Mr. Combs of the sex trafficking charge. Also, prior to his arrest in this case, Mr. Combs enrolled in a domestic violence program in which he participated until he was arrested and incarcerated in connection with this case. Man's not out there with guns, and this guy is, if they release this man, he's going to go home. He's going to go home. He's going to go and start working on rebuilding his life and his brand and his image. I wouldn't even doubt that within a week or so, he'll be doing Instagram videos and posting stuff about love and trying to act like everyone's just going to, whatever. We'll see what happens. I've already spoke on the fact about, what his PR move looks like as far as his PR team and management and trying to get him back in the good graces of people. I also made the argument that a lot of people are going to side with him because they see through the shenanigans. They see through the racism involved here. If I haven't made that clear, let me make that clear right now. I see this as a totally racist takedown of a black man in power as far as this whole thing goes. There's no way. There are so many other moguls, celebrities, politicians, people who are doing far worse, who are notorious for having prostitutes. I mean, we've got a whole case going on right now. I haven't even spoke on it on this channel because, again, I've taken a break about the whole Epstein thing, but you're dealing with the largest pedophile ring in history, right? With Epstein, now that he's gone, you still got Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in a cell talking to the government and all sorts of things going on and being orchestrated behind the scenes to protect people. These are pedophiles. This is huge. And that's just like, whatever, no one's in jail for that except for her. Diddy got thrown in a jail cell for having a crazy sex life? Right? That's what they did to this black man. We needed to keep him locked up like an animal. Why? Again, ending this video, not about whether or not I think Diddy's a great guy. It's more about, really, did he have to go through all this for what? Does he deserve all that? Does he deserve some time? Yeah. Does he deserve his proper karma for how he treats certain people in his life? Yes, he probably does. Does he need some help? Yes. Does he need some counseling? Yes. Does he need to rebuild himself? Does he deserve to be buried alive or crucified on a stake? I say no. And they need to let him out. So free Diddy. I'm going to end this by saying free Diddy. Let the man go home. Let him work on his life. Let him repent. Let him get good with God. Whoever he's got to get with, whoever he prays to, let him get all that taken care of. But this whole idea of the government and this racist campaign against this man, all right, is got to stop. It's over. They bitch slapped him. My theory is that Diddy got too big somewhere behind the scenes, whether it came to the liquor brand that he was dealing with and some of the behind the scenes stuff that was happening there and some of the billions of dollars that may have been on the line. And somebody put him in place and was like, okay, we're going to bitch slap you to let you know who owns you. I think that's what took place here. I am confident that that's what happened. I'm not happy about it. And again, free Diddy. That's it. Time to talk. If you haven't subscribe to the channel. You'll hear me go on some other things. I may even get into the Epstein thing eventually. I just need to figure out to what degree I want to talk about it, what angle I want to talk about it on, as opposed to the same crap you've heard from everyone else. But anyway, subscribe if you want to stay tuned for that. Like this video. Comment below what you think. Free Diddy, don't free Diddy. What do you think? And I will see you on the next one. Peace.